our show trainings that we are doing. So if you've been watching our series of in-home party training, this is kind of the final part of this. Now, this isn't when your show is over, but this is the last thing we're going to train on. So, sorry, I keep saying that. But I guess what I mean is this is going to be where our formal training ends. And at the end of the show, you'll still want to make sure you're building connections with all of your guests, giving your host a great time, and building that relationship with everyone that you've just met. So that that keeps happening until the moment you walk out that door. I do recommend before you leave her house that you make sure that her house looks as nice as it did when you got there. So help her to clean everything up, move any chairs back, be super helpful to her in that way because you don't want her to have any work left. So I just wanted to leave with that. But so we're going to talk about a full service checkout. And this is like a term that's unique to Pampered Chef, I'm pretty sure. But this is something that you're going to do at every single one of your parties. Do not skip this for any reason. This is so important for the health of your business. So basically what this is you're going to spend some time one-on-one with each of your guests and help them check their order out, get them their items, answer any questions, ask them if they'd like to join your team, ask them if they'd like to host a party, and thank them. And all those kinds of goodness things are going to happen at this checkout. So if you've seen our previous videos about the one-on-one checkout, you need to have informed your guests at your show closing that you will do these checkouts one-on-one. That is vital. You have to do this one-on-one or this will not work. So if you haven't seen the video on the show closing, stop this one, go watch the other one, the show closing and home party training, and then come back to this. So it's important that you set the stage, right? So you want to have a space set up where two people can see. If it's a space where only two people can sit, that's even better. Not like on the end of a sectional. Of course, you'll have to use the space that you have available to you, but anything that kind of isolates you with that customer would be ideal. So have that space picked out before your party starts so that you can kind of mark that for yourself and have that for a comfortable one-on-one chat session with your guests. And one thing that you can do to make sure that this is successful is just kind of notify your host as you're like in the beginning, when you're getting set up for your party, you can just say to her, hey, I need a space to work with your guests one-on-one to check them out. And that's a good time to also ask her that if she sees a bunch of people bunching up around you, if she could be the one to kind of redirect them to where the food is, to the place that she has for the guests to chat with one another. It's going to be way easier for her to do that than for you to do that. You're just going to come off as like bossy and weird if you're like, hey, can you get out of here? But if she comes to the rescue and says like, hey guys, why don't we come hang out over here while she helps Ashley with her order, that's going to be way more ideal. So definitely letting your host know that that's a situation is really going to help you look really professional and have that environment that you're wanting. So at the checkout, you want to have these things kind of set up before the party so that you're not like scrambling to get them all ready when people are ready for their orders. So you want to have your planner. That's like the calendar that you use to set dates for your parties. You'll want to have a couple of host packets handy so that you can hand them out as soon as they book a party. You'll want to have the opportunity brochure to give anyone who's interested in the business. You'll want to have a catalog in case they'd like to add to their order or if they'd like more information on a product or something like that, you'll have that handy. And I like to do my orders on my tablet. You can use a laptop or even your phone, but definitely using an electronic device that's connected to our website is going to be ideal. So getting connected with her Wi-Fi, your host Wi-Fi, you'll want to do that before the party so that you're not like, your host is like trying to get the food all set up and the plates and the forks and everything. And you're like, what's the Wi-Fi password? Like you don't want that situation. So have that set up before the party. And you also want a money bag. You want a dedicated bag that is safe and protected. You do not want to lose checks. That would be terrible. So you need to have like, I have like a little briefcase that I use that I keep all this stuff in, like a go bag. So it has packets, my book, my catalog, my money bag, my all that stuff in there. so that I can just throw my bag on the table that we're doing this at, and then everything's good to go. So yeah, and then make sure that you set up kind of a way for the general assembly will be. So like for instance, if you know you're going to set up all of the food and stuff like that at the dining room table, you'll want to kind of find a space that's away from there so that we're not hearing their conversations, they're not hearing our conversations, and it's just kind of a separate space. That way things don't bleed into one another, because you don't want like them asking her questions and like kind of distracting her from the conversation, because it's really hard to kind of negotiate your way back into that conversation one-on-one and get that personal connection that is what we're really after. So this part is really important. Okay, so the first thing you're obviously going to do is just start putting her information into your phone, tablet, laptop, whatever you've got going on there. So, and during this time, so don't just be like entering your information and just be dead silent. Use that time to get to know, because you can type and talk at the same time. I know sometimes it's kind of hard. So yeah, definitely do that. So I have some tips on this to make sure that you're building connections while doing this. First of all, you want to make sure you have all of their contact information. If they don't give that to you on the order form or the drawing slip or whatever you use, make sure you fill that in and just let them know this is for me to give you really good customer service. I promise I'm not going to like spam you or anything like that. Opt them into the newsletter. Just let them know, can I sign, would you like the newsletter? It's really awesome. You can unsubscribe if it's not your thing, that kind of thing. So make sure you opt them in for that. And then start filling in their products. There should be a training on Dash regarding how to put the order in and do those kinds of things. So make sure you look at a training for that. I am not going to create a video for that, so you'll need to look at that on our home office website. You'll want to double check the products, and you'll especially want to double check the quantities, because they might want 4 brownie pans, and if you only put 1 in there, it's really going to affect the order, because she might want those for gifts and it's just a mess. So just make sure that you have all of that correct. And then what I like to do too is I like to, after I'm done entering all their information, I like to just let them look at my laptop or my tablet or my phone or whatever, and just scroll down through and make sure everything looks right on the order. This goes a long way in making sure that you don't have the wrong thing on there, because it's a lot easier to do this now than to try to fix the problem later. And let them know about the guest special. Say, you know, if they have like a $25 order and there's a guest special for a $75 order, say, listen, you're like $50 away from the free item. Did you want to add anything or keep it the same? I love asking it this way. If you'd like to add anything or keep it the same, you're giving them 2 choices. So they feel really comfortable saying keep it the same. It's like you're not being pushy, because you're giving them both options. You're not saying like, would you like to add anything? And then their response has to be no or yes. You're giving them verbiage to use to have an easy out if it's not something they want to do, so they don't feel like you're being pushy. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, and then you're going to want to show them their total. Do not tell them, show them the total. This is a privacy thing. You don't want to be like, and your total is $2.50, right? Because then everyone's going to be like, holy cow. No, you don't want them to do that. You want it to be a show. If they say, can you tell it to me? If they ask you to do that, absolutely tell them. They're giving you permission to do that. But this is just a privacy and a etiquette thing. And then go ahead and fill in their payment information. Again, all of this is training that is available in Dash, so I'm not going to spend much time talking about that. However, so while you're doing all of this is when you're going to want to build a connection with them one-on-one. So don't just get down to business, and it's hard to give training on this in a way that's it's not going to be scripted. It's going to be different with every person that comes to you. But you're going to want to use this opportunity to get to know them and just kind of use the flow of the conversation, the flow of the input of information to kind of ask them questions. Ask them, can you remind me again how you know the host? Ask them if they, maybe ask them questions about something that you've heard them talking about during the party, or ask them if they've ever been to a Pampered Chef party or what they love or anything like that. You just get to know them a little bit better. And here's one tip I have for you. If they tell you something profound, it might be really personal, it might be really deep, it might be just really cool. It might be because everyone has such amazing stories to tell, and I love getting to know people. So when they're telling you something significant, stop what you're doing. Look up from your computer, look up from your phone, and look at them. So for instance, be like, yeah, I just got back from scuba diving. You're going to stop what you're doing, look at them and be like, scuba diving? You went scuba diving last week? And ask them for more information about that, right? And once that conversation's going, you know what I mean? You can kind of go back to your phone. But don't just have your head in your computer the whole time, because it's just going to sound like you're not really paying attention, right? So use eye contact when you feel the conversation is warranting that. By the way, my children are upstairs jumping off of their bed. So if you hear crashing sounds in the background, that would be my children. So I even asked them, I was like, mommy's recording. So you guys like keep it down a little bit? They must think I can't hear them. But anyway, I'm sure you can relate. So yeah, so this is a really good time just to kind of build a friendship with the people sitting on your couch. Okay, so you're going to want to go over the products with them. So once you've identified the products that they want, you know that the order is correct, everything's kind of good to go in that way. You're going to want to share how they can use the products, ask them if they have questions, anything like this, because this is going to help them understand that you really care. You already have the sale. This is an opportunity for you to go above and beyond and make sure that everything's going to go well for them with their products. So ask them again to look over and make sure everything's correct. Ask if they have any questions. So like, oh my gosh, I love everything that you chose. Do you have any questions about anything? Is there anything you'd love more information about? And they're going to tell you if they do or don't, or they might get more specific, like, actually, yeah, well, this is a gift for my daughter, or this is a gift for a bride. And again, those are things that you would want to know, because you don't want to word vomit a bunch of information about the ceramic egg cooker if she's not even going to use it. And then you can maybe take down the contact information of the person it's a gift for and just provide some helpful information to them. Like, could I have her email or her name? And then I can send her some recipes and stuff like that so that she'll have that. Now, don't send the recipes till after she gets the gift, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it helps you add value. Also, make sure you share any of the warranty information on this, especially for stoneware. If you see stoneware on there, ask them if they've ever used it before, if they know about the use and care of it, and let them know if it should ever crack or break. It is 100% clay, so clay does that sometimes. Let me know, snap a picture of the broken piece and send it to me, and we will have a new one sent to you. Make sure that they know not to throw things away, right? Also, if you have like a tip or trick about a product that you felt really helpful when you got yours, make sure you share that with them. So for instance, if you decided that holding your salad choppers a different way was helpful in using it, or you can think of things. Or for me, like the whipped cream maker, when they order that, I always tell them, hey, put all the ingredients in the whipped cream maker, stick it in the back of the fridge for like half an hour, and you're going to have foolproof results. It's always going to come out amazing when you do that. So information like that is going to just help them get better use out of the products once they have them in their kitchen. Also, ask them if they want to have some recipes sent to them. We have awesome ebooks available on our website. You can create an ebook on Evernote or a Word file and email it to them, or you can send them links from your personal website on Facebook. So there's a lot of different ways you can do that to make sure that they're set up for success. So when the products enter their kitchen, they already know what to do with it and they're using them. And last but not least, let them know about the return exchange policy. They do have 30 days to make sure they absolutely love a product, and then they can send it back at no charge, and they pay for the shipping and everything, like Pampered Chef pays for the shipping and everything, because we want them to love the products. So let them know that that's available to them, because what you don't want to find out is 6 months later, they bought a rock from you and they've never used it. That's a disaster. We don't want that to happen. So make sure that they know about that, and they know that they can reach out to you if they have any questions, comments, or would like some help with the product. Okay, so this is where you want to offer the opportunity. Now, this freaks so many people out. This freaks new consultants out. This freaks seasoned consultants out. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to encourage you to swallow your fear and do it anyways. Just do it, right? Because you do not know who needs this so badly. And usually it's the people who have been the quietest. I am not even kidding. They're the people who just found out that their mortgage rate went up and they're not sure how they're going to pay it. And they came to the party and they were, not in a really great mood. So they're not chatting with people and stuff like that. So they're sitting there all quiet, and then they hear this. So I think you need to make sure that you're not prejudging anyone who comes to you, especially someone who comes to you with a small order, right? If they come to you with a small order, that order is just as important as a large order. So don't use the size of the order to understand whether or not this might be something they're interested in. It doesn't mean they don't want the products. So I'm not saying to bring up the size of the order, don't do that. But all I'm saying is don't put away all your preconceptions of what you feel like they're going to be interested in and treat everyone the same. Maybe you don't think they need the money. That might not be why they sign up for this. There's a lot of people who sign up for this business not interested in earning an income, but interested in all the other aspects of this opportunity that are so fantastic. So you definitely want to offer the opportunity to everyone. Do not prejudge. You're going to want to ask open-ended questions. So avoid questions that are a yes or no answer, right? So here are some things that I love to do, right? So you've worked on building a connection with this individual one-on-one because we've been getting to know them during, the information input. We've given them helpful information about their products, and we want to make sure they're taken care of that way. So the conversation has gone well up until this point. So this isn't just like a slap in the face question, right? So, I can say something like, let me ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how interested are you in this business that I chatted about during the party? And that's going to give you a really clear idea of what their interest level is. If it's like 0, you're not going to turn a 0 into a 10 in one conversation at one party, right? That's okay. Then you can kind of end the conversation there, right? But if they say like a 5 or a higher, that's a really good sign that they're a recruit lead, right? So, wow, if they say, well, I'm at like a 5 or a 6, be like, great. Oh my gosh, you would be actually really good at this because you were so friendly, or you made really great suggestions at the party about how to use that, or I can already tell that you have a really bubbly personality and would work really well with this. So find something about them that you feel like would make them really great for our company and great for your team. And so you're going to give them a compliment and give them an encouragement on why you think they would be great for this. And then you're going to segue into another question. So what part of this business would you find the most helpful in your life? Is it the income? Would it be the products? Would it be the fun? And just ask a question like that, because that way you can tailor the conversation in a direction that it matches their interests. So if they tell you, the income sounds really nice, you can say, oh my gosh, isn't it? We make like $100 at every party that we do starting off, and it gets even higher. So if you did like 4 parties a month or 2 parties a month, you can make a great addition to your income, right? So you can ask them what they find interesting about the business, and then you can reinforce that with a personal testimony. So if it's a 5 or higher, ask them, would we be able to set up time tomorrow to chat just for like 10 minutes to see if this would be a good fit for you, and schedule that chat. We call that a recruiting interview. And then that way you have a time set in the future so that they can chat about this. If they say, no, this isn't something I'm looking at doing, then you can end the conversation there and you can segue into the booking part. But if they say, yeah, let's talk about it, then you're going to set up that time to chat for 10 minutes. Do not miss that time. You're going to call me and I'm going to help you with that conversation. So don't freak out. I will help you with that. But this is a really great way to set up a time for them to get more information about the business. You're also going to want to hand them the business opportunity flyer that you got in your new consulting kit. So those little booklets that have information on the business, you're going to want to make sure they go home with one of those. Okay, next you're going to want to do a booking. Listen, if you set up a recruiting interview with someone, you still want to do this. Am I clear? You definitely want them to set a party date. Even if they're chatting with you tomorrow about the business, don't wait to do this, because as soon as they leave, it's going to be so hard to contact them. Say they don't answer your phone call, right? Or say they decide they're not interested when they go home. You want to have a booking set on the calendar so that you have an opportunity to chat with them down the road and you don't lose them as a customer or as a host, right? So something that you might say you have your date set up to chat with that person about the business opportunity. Great. I do want to get you in my schedule to do a party, just in case, we decide that that's not something you'd like to do. I'd like to reserve a spot for you for a party. If they're interested in the business, they're going to be interested in the party. So it's pretty safe to assume that that's happening. So go ahead and just start looking at dates for that. You can always change it is going to turn into a launch party or something like that. But I always recommend getting this firmed up also, even though, you know, they might be interested in the business. Okay, so let's say they're not interested in the business. You kind of ended that conversation. They're not interested in a business chat, and they're not interested. They gave you like a 0 out of 10 for the business opportunity, right? So you're going to segue into booking. Again, do not prejudge. I promise you, you will be shocked at the people who are so excited to do parties. And if you ask someone else and you don't ask them, they might be offended. Like, does she not want to do a party with me? Does she not want me on her team? You know what I mean? You need to make sure that you're treating everyone equally. Okay, so again, you're going to want to see if they're interested in this by asking open-ended questions. Avoid yes or no answers. So was there anything on your wish list that you weren't able to get tonight? Or if you can sense that maybe free products wouldn't be the thing that are motivating them, remember the fun is what really motivates most people. Use the themes that you offer. So which theme do you think your friends would love? Or what recipes would you love to try at a party? And just kind of use that and just say something like, I would love to do a party with you. Hang on just a second. Mason and Oliver, my 2 boys, are coming down really loudly. So I just had to go and correct that. Anyway, so so what I love to say is I would love to do a party with you. What do you think? Right? So what themes would you love? All that stuff. So I find that when I say something like, I would love to do a party with you, first of all, huge compliment. Who's going to be like, oh, how pushy? No one. Everyone wants to be wanted. So that's a really great way to do that because we would love to do one with them, right? You're so much fun. You love the products. You would be a perfect host. And so you're going to want to set a date. So listen, I'm not going to go into this really, really in depth because we've already trained on this. So if you've watched the getting bookings in your beginning to get your initial bookings, this is the same process, right? I would love to do one. Let's chat about it. If they have objections, you're going to use the same protocol. Set a date the same way you set your dates for your first couple of parties. Go back to that training. You can go back and do that training over and over again because that doesn't change ever, right? And once they set the date, make sure you give them a host packet. Get them started. And we'll talk about host coaching here in a little bit, but this is going to be something that you can get started off on the right foot. You'll do a little bit of host coaching here, but yeah, give them a packet, let them know, tell them to tell the host. Say, oh, go tell Sarah that you're doing a party so she makes sure that she can reserve it. And when she goes and does that, your host is going to get excited and be like, oh my gosh. And what's so hysterical is like, she'll go and tell the host, and then guests at the party who like she doesn't even know she met for the first time will be like, oh my gosh, can I come? I really wanted to do a fajita margarita party. I really wanted to come to that. And so she's going to get people coming to her party before she even leaves. They're going to go with dates and stuff. So make sure she's notifying people at the party that she's done that. So that's always really exciting. You should be getting 2 to 3 bookings at every party, just so you know. That's what I recommend. So make sure that you're kind of aiming for 2 to 3. Okay, let's be friends. So no matter what they say to you, whether it's the business opportunity or the booking, no matter what all of that goes, you need to make sure that you keep them. Hi, Annie. Annie just came over. You need to make sure that you're keeping them in your circle of customers, right? So ask if they're on Facebook. If they are, right then and there, send them a friend request. What? Yeah. Sorry, my daughter is right here. All right, hang on a second, sweetie. Ask them if they're on Facebook. Ask them if you can be friends, and ask them if you can add them to your Facebook group, because then they can get recipes and see you in action with new products and specials and host specials. So definitely let them know that they can check you out there and be excited about your group. The other thing too is you can let them know that they can message you at any point, or even shoot you a text message, especially if they don't have Facebook. Have them add you in their phone as like Pampered Chef, Marsha, or whatever. And then that way you can, they can text you if they have any problems with anything. And last but not least, make sure that you thank them for coming. A lot of them have come right after work, or had to get dinner on the table for their family before they were able to come, or some of them might have driven a long way to come and see you. So make sure that you make them feel appreciated before they go. Look them in the eyes and you're like, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you doing that for me and for my host, and I hope that I'll see you again here soon. So that's something you want to leave them feeling nice and warm and fuzzy before they leave you. So yeah. So that is all about the full service checkouts. Again, do not skip over any of those steps. All of those steps are so important. So make sure that you're being really intentional about doing that. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any great suggestions. And I would love to hear from you. And I hope this was helpful. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.